Hello and welcome once again to another edition of Elite City. I'm Blasco as always, and my co-host and partner in crime, Mr. Rick. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really well.
Is it outrageously hot there?
We've actually been getting a bunch of rain,
Uh,
and so it's been really humid. But I mean, I think anything's hot because I don't like the heat. But
yeah. No, it's
uh,
been outrageously hot here for like a week. It's ridiculous. I hate
oh
it.
no, it's been like normal, but lots of rain and thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how we start this off with a weather report every week. It's pretty good.
Well, hey, we got to differentiate ourselves.
There you go.
We will get into it right now, as a matter of fact. But before we get into it, but on topic, if I would have told you that in real time that there were probably like 5 match of the weeks last week,
Yeah, it
every
was
match
crazy.
outdid itself. Yeah.
The last 2 weeks of AEW have been really good.
Yes, and this match started it off with Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal. So much happened in such a little amount of time in this match. It was a great match. At Orange Cassidy's so over, everybody knows that. Um, what were your thoughts on Orange Cassidy when you first started watching AEW?
I mean, I knew of him. I never seen him wrestle. I heard like on the internet people were like split on their opinions of him.
Mm-hmm.
And what basically most people said was, "Oh, just watch him wrestle because he's more than just the gimmick." And it's true. Like his gimmick is fun. Like I like his gimmick. I think it's fun. But he's a much better wrestler than the gimmick lets on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And he gets the gimmick too. Like like we always talk about with him and Will Ospreay. Like they're not comedy wrestlers, but they use comedy perfectly in an intense match, if that makes any sense.
And
Like,
he's managed to. I don't know if this is what he was like previous, because at the beginning of AEW, I feel like he was more. Orange Cassidy was more into the gimmick was most of what he did, and that might have to establish the gimmick. Like that might have been on purpose.
That's a good call.
People who hadn't seen him, he was going to establish the gimmick. But now he does a really good job at incorporating it into like intense matches. Like he's funny, but the match itself is still
right.
It doesn't detract from the match.
Yeah, and it's not like cheap or cheesy. It must be his personality because it's played perfectly.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
I'm just gonna say how much I enjoyed the best friend's trench coat spot.
That was great.
That was amazing.
And I think it was Sanjay Dutt who kind of backed off, like he was afraid of them.
It was so great. And just yesterday or today on Twitter, they have actually done that in the past.
Oh, okay.
Like I guess like people, of course, the internet was mad about it. I don't know if you heard.
The internet be mad about something? That's not like the internet.
I know.
Usually very positive.
And like apparently the internet was yelling at them saying that it was cheap and blah blah blah, and they were like, well, we didn't just do it because he was tall. We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And then Trent posted like a clip of them actually doing it in Japan, and like the crowd went bananas. And I was like,
that's good.
See, that's awesome. I'm just gonna start off. Taz has been really good in AEW, but he is also let go, and he plays like the hilarity card so well. I think it's great. Like,
yeah,
he
was always good. I mean, he was great on commentary, like in WWE. He's always been
he was
good at it. But yeah, he's definitely, he could do funny yet serious at the same time. Like he tells jokes, but he still seems like a tough guy. Like it doesn't take away from like the Taz of ECW time.
Yeah, and and that was going to be the first part. The second part, starting with this match and the way the announce team has gelled, and the way the announce team was putting things over. Like I was going to say, they put over Jay Lethal working uh, Orange Cassidy's left leg like a lot. It was almost probably said every minute or two.
Right. What do you think of the new announced teams where JR comes in halfway through and the first half is Taz?
I dig it. I think it's
and
really
then JR
cool.
does Rampage, I guess, too. But I like it.
Yeah, I like it. It gets everybody uh, some time. It gives you, it cuts up the show. You know, it's just all in all a solid move. I really like it. It's not
I
a
heard,
crowded booth.
yeah,
Go.
I heard Tony Khan talk about why he did it, and one of the reasons was he wanted like a pick me up in the middle of the show, and like when they introduce JR, it gets people, oh, like this is the second part of the show, like they stand up and they pay
Oh,
attention to, like that's part of the reason they did it.
that was that's awesome. That's really cool. And the other part of what the announce team did in this match was how they kept pushing. It so reminded me of like old 80s like Gorilla Monsoon. Like they kept asking if like Orange Cassidy was okay. Like someone
Right.
needs to go down and check on it. Like
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? You're right there.
Yeah,
But
that was
someone
good.
else needs to do it. Yeah.
Not me, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
They do
Um
manage to have like an old school but modern call, like the way they call things. Like there's callbacks
yes.
to old school things, but it's still modern wrestling. They're not what a maneuvering everything that comes up, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good mix.
Um Jay Lethal got the clean win. Impressed that they must have something in plan. Excuse me, must have something on the plans for Jay because he's got a little momentum here, and that was a big
Yeah,
win.
I was surprised, and then I mean it made sense
Yeah,
considering what happened after the match, but
that's yeah.
I was surprised.
um, it was a great match, and as soon as it was over, Sanjay Dutt gets to do an in-ring interview with Jay Lethal, and he instantly calls out Wardlow. uh, and Wardlow accepts for was we'll talk about a little bit later for Battle of the Belts 3. Uh, I thought that whole thing was cool.
Yeah.
It was really well done. The segments in AEW now are getting more dynamic, and
Hmm.
um, I don't know if they have like pushed a narrative or if they loosen the chains a little bit. Like we're starting to see personalities too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah. It's the shows definitely feel like I think we mentioned a couple weeks ago. It definitely feels like another era for AEW. There was like the
yeah,
initial AEW era, and then like the pandemic, and then like the CM Punk, Bryan Danielson are here. Look how exciting this is era, and now
yeah,
it feels different.
it does, and I in a good way,
Yeah,
obviously. And people are starting to spread their wings. Maybe it's people like just people getting more comfortable. Like I like Wardlow came out, he didn't have to say anything. The dude is so good on the mic. He is the legit total package. Excuse
yeah,
my Lex Luger pun, but uh I all in all thought it was great. Uh but before we go to the next segment, Satnam Singh's knowledge of like what he's supposed to be doing, like when he's not wrestling, is heads and tails ahead of the game. And I know I put this guy over all the time, but watch him at ringside. Like there's people that have been in wrestling a long time that don't do the things that he does. He plays to the crowd. He'll just go yell at somebody. He plays the heel. He cheers on Jay Lethal. He is so good at ringside.
yeah. He's
You know,
definitely he has, it's a stereotype, but usually when they have like the big tall guy, they don't really have a
yeah,
personality other than I'm a big tall
right.
guy and I'm mean. But yeah, like
Yeah,
he does seem to have more of a personality than, I mean, it's not like he's out there, cutting promos or anything, but he does seem to have more of a personality than like a lot of just guys whose job it was to just be big.
Exactly. And I've like, I love to see him. it's
Yeah.
it's it's fun, and well, as we're going to talk about later, we might be seeing more of him, and it looks like it's going to get really fun.
Yeah.
uh the next, which I definitely thought was going to be later in the evening, but we had the Undisputed Elite segment. um they all come down, they do their thing. It was totally nuts thinking about how the Bucks just weren't on TV for a couple weeks and
Right.
people didn't complain. Like, this roster's unreal. Um, but, well, we'll just go in order. Adam Cole starts his promo and he starts talking about loyalty. Uh, I know we had a little discussion about this earlier. Do you think that was meant for the Bucks, or do you think he was calling out Kenny?
I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with it. I mean, from what I can tell, Kenny Omega's coming back sometime in the relatively near future, and
Yes.
obviously he'll be involved in this. Where he's going to go, I don't know, because is he mad at the Bucks for not helping him when he was against him? Is he mad at Adam Cole for kind of taking over his group? Like,
Right.
I don't know. Like, I have no idea where Kenny's going to go or what, or if he's going to go with either side. Is he going to form his own, like go on his own? Like, I have no clue where they're going. I want to see it. Like, it's
Oh
entertaining.
yeah.
I really want to know what's happening, but I can't figure it out.
That is instantly where my head went. I thought, because I didn't know what was coming next.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, he's calling out Kenny Omega. And then he goes in and he tells the Bucks that they can't enter the trios tournament at first. And they kind of give him like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, well, I kind of misspoke. I mean, you won't be able to compete. And then boom, there's the big turn.
Yeah.
Totally did not see it coming.
And the poor kid in the crowd who like lost it.
Yeah, that was great. That was fantastic. Sorry, little kid, if you're a fan, we just made fun of you. um, it, didn't see it coming, but I mean, we did see it coming, obviously.
Yeah, I
Like,
thought there
I
was
didn't
gonna
see.
I thought
Go
there was
ahead.
gonna be a split, but I thought it was gonna be like a long, like a more drawn out. I didn't think it'd be like
It,
a immediate turn.
yeah, like I was just gonna say, I thought they were gonna do it like they would do like with the old school tag teams, like, a guy would go for a tag and like have his back turned, but oh, it wasn't on purpose. Like, there'd be like the little cracks,
Yeah, and then
and
then
then
then maybe the Bucks would pick Hangman and Adam Cole would be upset,
right,
but they wouldn't like they'd just be kind of mad at each other. They wouldn't. I didn't think
yeah,
it'd be like a turn, but it was
right,
good,
yeah, and it was very good.
and I'm really excited for what's gonna happen.
It's all same here, and then mid beat down, you hear the Cowboys music play. Hangman makes the save, and I mean, again, saw it coming from a mile away, but I still got up and cheered. I thought it was
Yeah,
awesome. uh, he helps Matt Jackson up, and it looks like we're gonna get an Elite slash Hung Bucks reunion. Oh
yeah,
man.
it's possible. I mean,
Oh,
I still think Kenny's gonna get involved before they actually reunite. I
all right.
think Kenny's gonna do something, but
It,
I don't know
oh,
what.
see, but that's, well, it's uh, if we get the Hung Bucks, it is officially 3-on-3, and they're obviously going to meet each other in the finals.
Right.
And then, do you
Oh yeah,
think
then maybe Kenny
that's what
could
I
show up then. Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good
and
point.
then show his allegiance or disallegiance or whatever you want to call. That would make a lot of sense, and then that would be what All Out is like in about 1 month. It's the first week of September, correct?
September. Yeah.
Okay, so we got about a month. So yeah, I can see Kenny coming back within a month. Oh man, it's gonna be so good. Uh had two promos, and well, really not. The second one was a promo. The first one was more of a segment. Anyways, um, Mox was probably about the most intense promo he's ever cut.
And that's
And
it. And that's saying something.
yeah, and that is saying something. And I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet, but the line that it gave me chills is when he looked directly at the camera and he says, "When the bell rings, I have no friends," meaning he didn't care if he was going to have to face Wheeler Yuta if he beats Jericho, which
Right.
we will talk about. It's business, it's his job, and he takes his job very seriously. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, he's doing a I have more to say about this later on, but he's doing a an excellent job in his like I know it's interim, but in his like world title reign.
Yeah,
Since he's come back,
yeah,
when like it was like October or whenever it was, he's done he's been like he's been always been great, but he's on a different level. It's really good.
yes, yes, it is. Um, we had, which was my match of the week up until other things happened. We had Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus our girls, Kelly Rosa. Um, I, this match was outstanding.
Really
Um,
good. And it happened before 9 p.m.
and it happened before 9 p.m.
It was like at like 8:40 or something. I was shocked.
And it really, it, what a story they told in this match and spilling over into Battle of the Belts. Unreal.
Yeah, great
Um,
match. I mean, well, she showed more later, but Jamie Hayter had
yes,
one excellent week. Like
yes,
she
she
really
did.
positioned herself as a she put herself over really well in the
Yes,
last
she
week.
did.
Like she had great
Yeah,
matches.
literally, I was going to start my little. I was going to say Rosa looked very good in this match, but I was going to say Jamie Hayter. She did more in last 7 days than she did in the first 6 months at AEW,
Yeah,
and
it's been really good. I
it's
know she had a
been
lot of hype when
insane.
she came in. Like I didn't know who she was when she came back,
Exactly.
or say
Yeah.
when she saved Britt and joined her. I didn't know anything about her, and I could tell the internet was excited that she was there, but I didn't know anything about her. But yeah, she's really good.
Yeah. And she really showcased herself in the best way possible. Um, Britt looks very smooth in the ring to me. Like she really honed her skills with, I don't want to say she's had time off, but she really hasn't had a match in a while.
Or like a big match, yeah.
A big match, yeah. And this, I mean, and Britt, I don't want to say that Britt's bad. She's not, but as you always say, she's great on the mic and she's a superstar, but like she does kind of lack sort of in the ring.
Yeah, she's not the best. I mean, that's not an insult. She's not the best wrestler in
Exactly.
the women's division because there's a lot of really
Yes.
good wrestlers in the women. She's not.
Yes.
She's not a bad wrestler by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. And
But yeah,
well, she looked smoother to me. Like she was putting things together. Things made sense. It was less of, and this isn't a shot, but it was less of an indie wrestling match for her,
yeah, yeah.
as it was more of a television wrestling match. And
I
like I
think
understand she was a indie wrestler, like so.
I think
I
the women's division as a whole. I mean, the company as a whole, but the women's division in particular, they're getting a lot better at being on TV, and it just makes sense. I
yeah,
mean, they've been on TV now for a few years,
yes,
and there were people there was always people who'd had TV experience. There was always John Moxley or Chris Jericho who had years of TV experience, but a lot of them had basically none. I mean, even the
yeah,
Bucks and things, they were in Japan. The way they shoot TV in Japan is different than the way they shoot TV
right,
in North America. So even them, like the Bucks or Kenny, like they had ROH or New Japan, but it wasn't big time TV like they're on now,
oh, exactly, exactly,
and it wasn't live most of the time. So it
correct,
was it was completely it's completely different for everyone, and they're all kind of growing into being on TV for a long time. Everyone forgets because especially all the people that they've signed in the last year or so.
hmm
This is still a really new company with a lot of people who've never really done this on TV
right,
before like 3 years
right,
ago.
right.
Like,
Like, no, go ahead.
no, that's it.
Well, I was going to say, like, there are people that, I mean, if you think about the life of an indie wrestler, I bet you there's guys that and girls that never even were a part of a storyline.
Right.
because it's like, oh, you wrestle in Columbus, then you drive all the way to Idaho for $5, then you're in Texas. Like, you're not wrestling the same people.
Right, and especially because like ROH has been down for a while, so like they had storylines, but a lot of these people
Right.
weren't in ROH. There wasn't that ROH had been slowing down even before the
Right.
pandemic, and TN Impact had been it's not where it once was. Like there was a lot fewer opportunities to be in one company and have like
Right.
storylines and build up to something.
Right. There you go. That's a perfect word, a build up. Like, it's not just one-off matches over and over and over again.
Yeah,
Um, these four women deserved the "This is awesome" chant that they
yeah.
got during this match because, like I said, until other things happened, this was my match of the week.
Yeah, and you can say I even thought oh they're doing Britt Baker against Thunder Rosa again. They've done that a lot, but then I mean it's really good.
Yeah.
Like they're both really good. Like this feud is good. They still like it doesn't feel like it's played out. Like it doesn't feel like they're just going back to it. It feels like kind of organic how they got where they are. And yeah, why not do it again? Really, I mean they're both doing good. I understand that Britt is in main events and title shots a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of wrestlers that are also very good who aren't in that spot, but she does a really good job,
Oh
and her
yeah,
and Thunder Rosa do really well together. And
they
like it's
do.
like going from the male side, it's like oh, why is John Moxley always in the main event? Well, because he's John Moxley. Like where
Right.
like that's where he's going to be. That's where CM Punk's going to be. Like that's where they are. And I'm
Exactly.
not saying Britt Baker's experience level of John Moxley or CM Punk, but in the AEW women's division, she's their star. She's one of their biggest
Yes, she
attractions.
is.
So
Absolutely.
and she works well with Thunder Rosa. Like they have really good matches.
They have good matches. They like to like I think they like to yell at each other. Like, they like
Yeah.
the camaraderie because it looks very natural.
And it's such a it is really natural. It's such a like natural heel face. Like Thunder Rosa is clearly the face. You're supposed to like her.
Right.
She's
Right.
Britt Baker's clearly like the complete opposite of Thunder Rosa,
Right.
and they work so well together.
Yeah.
Their gimmicks work well together. Their wrestling skills work well together. Like they do good stuff when they're both on TV.
And oh, this match was phenomenal. Uh,
Yes.
but Britt and Jamie, they get the clean win. Uh, it was even like clean for them. Like, it wasn't, or I mean, it wasn't even like, oh, it was clean for them. Like, it was an actual clean win.
Yeah. Yeah.
No shenanigans really for the match, if I recall. I think it just went, yeah, because it cut right to the Eddie promo, correct?
Yeah.
That's what, okay. My mind's serving me well. Um,
Well, it cut to Sammy's little engagement wedding
oh
message
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was
That's
then cut off.
yeah, that's right. I thought this was a little odd, but I like what they're gonna do with it. That Eddie challenged Sammy for All Out, and I was like, oh, but there's nothing there yet. And then I said it, no, it's yet. Like, they're gonna give
Yeah,
them
they
a
have a
full
month.
month build. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long Sammy and Ty are gonna be gone for. I mean, they just got married, so they'll probably be gone for a little bit.
Oh,
But
that's true too.
I don't know how
Yeah.
long they'll be gone for. Probably not that long. I mean, they're still in
Yeah.
storylines. If they were going to be gone for a long time, they would have taken them out of storylines.
Or I was gonna say, maybe he's not going, or they're not going anywhere. Eddie hurts him at the match, and then they take like a month off.
Yeah, that's true. That's also possible.
Uh,
I liked the promo. I mean, Eddie's great. He's
oh
always
yeah.
great. I like when how he's just like annoyed at at Sammy. Like he just like
Yes.
why are you even showing this on the show? Like I don't no one wants to see this. It was great.
It was
Uh,
fantastic.
and it makes sense that he's mad at Sammy because Sammy basically cost him his match against Jericho, so that it all makes
Right.
sense.
Right.
The only thing I don't like is it seems like this is the end of the Eddie Jericho saga, and now he's moved on to Sammy. And I still would have liked him to actually beat Chris Jericho.
I Yeah. I don't think it's over though. I have a feeling that Jericho is going to screw Eddie the way that Sammy screwed Eddie, and that's how
Right.
they're going to intertwine it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like it's just
Or
going to
Eddie
be
could screw Jericho in his next match. You never know. But yeah, I
or
really hope in
yeah.
Queens at Grand Slam that they have a match.
Oh man,
Eddie and Jericho. Like that's what I really want
yeah,
to see.
yeah, and Eddie go over, of course.
Of course.
And well, after that, we got another huge surprise from Taz. Uh, he had enough of the shenanigans. He said if guys aren't going to get along, he sat him down. He said it's over. Thought it was abrupt. Little. I thought it should have stayed.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they're still gonna have a Hobbs and Starks feud.
Oh yeah,
But
obviously.
I'm surprised that there wasn't like a bigger blow off to the end of Team Taz.
Yeah, that's what
But
like it just didn't. I don't know.
It felt odd. But I realized recently, like after this happened, I think someone else pointed it out. I don't know who it was. Team Taz never seemed like a big stable in AEW. Like there was a lot of other. There was the Inner Circle. There was now the Blackpool Combat Club. Like there's always been other stables that weren't Team Taz. But if their job was to put over young guys as stars, they accomplished it. Like all three of them now are.
Well, that's
big.
true.
All three of them are a big deal, and also Brian Cage is there.
Yeah, that's that's why it had to end.
Yeah.
Poor Brian Cage.
I feel bad for him because like I have nothing against Brian Cage. Like he's fine. But like it is weird how he's treated.
And I mean it is. Because it's not like he's bad.
No, he's fine. Like he's not like a top star, but he's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with him. Like
and he's apparently like a really nice guy too. So it's not like, oh well, maybe he's I'm a swore. Jeez, maybe he's a bit of an ass backstage or something.
Right.
Nope. Apparently he's like the nicest guy and loves everybody. Everyone loves him, and he hangs out every week.
And after all this of him not being on TV for however long he wasn't on TV, he re-signed with AEW, and like, he's still here.
Yeah. He has to be a TV every week. I mean, you're not going to pay a guy to sit at home.
Right. I was 100% sure that he was going to leave like 6 months ago, whatever it was, when his cut. Like I was sure that like, yeah, he'd leave and he'd go to Impact or WWE, but nope, he re-signed.
Well, he's going to be awesome in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Like he'll be that, like how you just said he's fine. Like he'll be that mid-card name that people will have to beat before they can step up to Claudio.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like it's because Claudio's like, I mean, he's obviously going to have that belt on AEW TV too, but you're not going to have, you need a mid-carder.
And I mean, Brian Cage looks impressive. He looks like a big guy. Like if you beat him, it looks like a big deal.
Yeah, and then of course you're going to give him squash matches too.
Right.
To pump him up, like, oh, it's Brian Cage versus Dave Andrews.
Right.
Like, oh, and then he'll beat a person up and get some validity back from losing.
Right.
He took out his frustrations on him. Whatever. Sorry, we just fantasy booked Brian Cage in Ring of Honor. Wow. Jeez.
It works.
It did. It does work. Hobbs versus Ren Jones. We're not going to talk about this long because the match didn't even take as long as it took me to say that.
What a entrance for Hobbs though, his new entrance.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude's a monster heel. I mean,
yeah, he got the Cody Vader too, didn't he?
I was writing because I was looking up who Ren Jones was, so honestly, I have no idea what his entrance was. Yeah, I was googling Ren Jones, so.
Yeah, he got the Cody Vader.
That's amazing. Wow, so they use it for two people now.
Yeah, it was Jade-ish. It was dark, and then but he had the whole. He didn't just have the. I'm just watching it now. He didn't have the whole like Jade comes up, but Hobbs had the whole like the middle part of the stage go down, and then it rises too.
Oh, okay.
He had like.
Wow. Cody Vader.
I wish it would start with like wrestling has only one powerhouse, and then he comes out.
Yeah, that should be the only
Yeah.
like it's the only rule. If you get to use it, you have to just somehow
You have
have
to
a
throw it.
spoken word gimmick. I
Yeah.
mean, a spoken word piece about your gimmick from Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're doing a great. I mean, it's only been a week, but they're doing a great job positioning Hobbs as like a big deal.
Yes, and I mean, eventually when we get Hobbs Wardlow,
Oh yeah.
that the planet might explode.
I feel like that's where that's where they're going eventually.
Yeah, and that might be your next TNT champion.
Yeah.
You know, give let Wardlow destroy people till like Thanksgiving, Christmas, start the new year, give the belt to Hobbs.
Yeah,
Like,
and that would really put him over if Wardlow's like Wardlow. I mean, obviously.
right,
So
right.
yeah, that would be good.
That would be fantastic. Um, excuse me. Where were we? Miro cut a
Oh,
promo.
we forgot Ricky Starks run in.
Oh, yeah, we did. Good call. Ricky Starks with the run in, and again, obviously, that's setting up the future feud.
I liked it. I was surprised that Ricky Starks ran in and Hobbs kind of just destroyed him. Like usually the guy who runs in gets the
Yes,
upper hand, but I liked it. It put Hobbs over. It's like, oh, it's not going to be easy for Ricky Starks to beat him.
yeah, and that's that you just took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I liked about it because it was a big curveball. You're oh, it was so good, so well done, and it's just more sympathy for Starks. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I
it's
didn't think he could be a face, but he's already a very good face.
oh yeah, Ricky is so good at everything, and
Because he
I'm
kind of
so
has like the cocky, full of himself
oh
heeled
yeah,
thing. I would like,
yeah,
but he can play face too. It's good.
yeah, and oh, it's gonna be so good when he finally gets to get his hands on him.
Yeah.
Uh, it, well, I wanted to throw this curveball to you. Do you think they're gonna somebody's gonna try to wrangle in Hook between them two?
Yeah. It's possible because I think they've been kind of separating Hook from Team Taz for a while. Like he wasn't showing up with Hobbs and Starks for a while. He
Right.
was off doing his own stuff. And now he's FTW champion, so maybe he's gonna go do his own thing. But I think that there has to be a conclusion to the Hook aspect of Team Taz too.
Yeah. Well, right. And we already had him and Ricky fist bump after he beat Ricky.
Right.
So, like, we already that seed's kind of planted, and
Oh, that would be actually really cool if like say Hobbs like attacked Ricky Starks and like beat him down really badly, and then Hook
again,
and
yeah,
then Hook came out to save him. That would be
yeah.
cool.
Oh, and then you get Hobbs and Hook. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yo, let's go. Okay. Now we can move on to
Yes.
Miro's promo. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
So much
Um,
happening.
there's so much happening, and I'm amped up tonight. I was so excited. So much. Last week was fantastic. Um, Miro promo, and now I wrote down the line, but I'm questioning myself. Did he say he'll reveal himself soon, or did he say it will be revealed to you soon?
I think it will be revealed, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. Well, because after I didn't even realize what I wrote down because I'm watching TV and writing stuff, taking notes at the same time. And after I typed it up for you today, I was like, I don't think that's what he said.
Yeah, I don't know 100%.
So okay, well, we'll play it with what I have wrote down. That he'll reveal himself soon. That's what confused me because I meant he walked down the aisle last week. So maybe we won't
Right.
go with that. We'll go with
But
it will reveal.
I guess he had the sunglasses on. Maybe he meant he'll reveal
Oh,
his
that's true.
face. I don't know. I don't know where this is going. I like it, but I have no idea where it's going.
Agreed. So we'll forget what he said and we'll just say that we like where it's going.
Yeah.
And well, like we always say, there's so many ways that, if he's with them, it's going to just add because he's like, it's a whole stable of people that can talk. Like that's never happened in the history of wrestling.
I think it also kind of depends on whether or not Buddy Matthews. I don't know what's wrong with Buddy Matthews. Like he's injured somehow. Right. I don't know how. But I think, the House of Block will be in the trios tournament. But if Buddy can't be there, will they replace him with Miro?
Ooh, that's a real good call.
And then that would be it would be weird if they didn't win then. I don't think they're going to win. I think the Young Bucks are going to win.
Yeah,
but
same here.
But it would
that
be,
at least gets them in.
Yeah.
And gives them story for when Buddy Matthews comes back.
Right.
Like, who the hell's this guy?
Right.
You guys shouldn't have entered the tournament. Or,
right.
Like, okay. That makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of moving parts to that. I like that. Yeah, I definitely think the Bucks are going to win too. It's because it's obviously going to be Bucks and Undisputed Elite in the finals.
Yeah, and what I've heard is the reason that they, twofold. It's going off on a tangent, but like when the Bucks had the tag titles, they weren't supposed to have the tag titles. The Hardys were supposed to have the tag titles. So
right.
That's
true.
That's why they never had the Bucks FTR match, because first of all, the Bucks weren't supposed to be there, so that wasn't planned. And the reason.
Okay.
I've heard recently the reason they're not having it now is because they want the Bucks in the trios tournament, so they don't want them to be involved in the tag title scene.
That makes a lot of sense. That is okay. That's cool. I'll take that. I like it.
Yeah.
We are
we're in 1998. And Christian is facing off against Matt Hardy.
Hold on, you skipped Darby's promo.
Oh yes, I did.
It was real quick. He just accepted Brody King's challenge. Now,
and he apparently tattooed his. Now he apparently tattooed his hand.
That was fake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was actually hoping that was fake.
Yeah, it had to be. He had a real machine in his hand, but there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Now it's 1998.
Yes. Christian versus Matt Hardy.
And there was a sign in the crowd that said, "I've played this match in No Mercy," which I thought was great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I texted you, dude, it's 2022.
I know.
And we're watching Matt Hardy versus Christian on live television.
I know. And I think JR mentioned either before or after he mentioned the Dudleys. I think during this match he mentioned the Dudleys.
Yeah, he said all we need down here is a Dudley.
Yeah. It was like it had JR, it had Christian, it had Matt Hardy. It was 1998 again. And they wrestled like it was 1998 again.
Well, yes, they did. Because they came very close to stealing this show.
Yeah.
If the ladies didn't have the match that they had, the Christian versus Matt Hardy was match of the night because it was great. And I even put it in the notes. I liked how it was like slow paced.
Yeah.
But still Christian Hardy.
Right. Obviously they're not 22 anymore. Like they're not going to be what they were, but yeah.
And they both understand wrestling psychology. Like Matt would play to the crowd to get the cheers. Christian would play to the crowd to get the boos. They had everybody in the palm of their hand the whole match, and it was great.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about it every week. Matt Hardy did a move on the apron. And of course, it was the side effect, which is even more terrible.
Yeah.
To land on somebody.
Right.
But he did pay his pittance. He ended up through the table at the end. And Christian wins. Great match. Where do you think, or do you think this is a one-off? Do you think it's going to go anywhere?
I think they might, depending on what they do with the trios, I think they might put Matt Hardy with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. But I don't know.
That would make sense. And then you could have Matt Hardy with Private Party. They can reconcile.
Yeah, that's true. And then the return of Dark Luchasaurus, or the consistent Dark, like he still has the intro.
Yes.
He still has like the scary thumping intro. when he came out, and then Jungle Boy, who had previously tried to murder Christian earlier in the show,
Yeah.
came out with a shirt that I don't think they could probably show on TV, but they did kind of. But you could tell they were kind of like they were like they show up but then pan away, like, oh, can we show it by accident? And like
That was one of those things that, like, the way that probably happened is they were all backstage in a meeting, and like somebody said, "Oh, he should wear a shirt that says this," and then everybody was like, "Oh, it's a great idea," and they were all hyped on it. And then his music hit, and he walked out, and they're like, "Oh, we probably shouldn't have done that, huh?"
Yeah. Yeah. Someone was like, "Wait a second, can we actually show that? Like, what does TVS say? Are we allowed?"
Yeah, yeah. It's like
we never checked with the network. Quick, pan away.
Right. Have him zip his coat up.
Yeah.
It was yeah.
You know, like once in a while you'll see like a music video and the guy in the music video has his shirt blurred.
Yeah.
And like clearly he wore something and didn't check that he's not allowed to wear that in a music video. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's a very dated reference, but we're all old people here. We understand music videos.
Yeah. Hey, we're that 38 to 44 demographic that we hit
That's
every
right.
week.
That's right.
We crush it. Daniel Garcia is now calling himself the Dragon Slayer.
I think that's great.
How I feel about it. Oh,
I like
think it's cool?
I like it. I like it especially because Anna Jay is the Queen Slayer.
Oh, and that is a very sports entertaining thing.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
I like it. I think it fits.
It is incredible.
And I like because it seems Jericho-ish, like he won one match and now has a new nickname.
Yeah.
Which I like. Like Jericho now has like 50 nicknames. Like every week he's something else. Like he's a wizard. He's whatever he is. Like,
well, that's what I was just gonna say. They should like start calling themselves like the medieval faction, because there's a wizard, there's a dragon slayer, a queen slayer.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I liked it. I liked the Daniel Garcia promo. It was short, but it was effective.
It was very effective. And I mean, this feels like promo city here. Ethan Page in ring, but my God, did I love this whole segment.
Yeah. Ethan Page is so good.
Yes. And the way that talk about having the crowd in the palm of your hand, he let them get behind him and then he shut him down, and it was so good. Like, why are you cheering me now?
You're not buying my shirts. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
I also love that as a fellow old guy, he said that no one's standing in line to buy his t-shirts on the AEW website. Like, there's no line on a website. It's a website.
That's funny.
Of course, you're not going to stand in line on your website, but like it was something that like an older person would say, like stand in line to buy this, or like roll down the window or rewind that. Like those are all like old people sayings, and I don't know how old Ethan Page is, but I liked it.
Dude, I think he was born in '89.
Yeah. Yep, '89. It's great.
So I'm 10 years older than him. He's 32. Wow.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, it's great. And again, the biggest mystery in AEW, Stokely walks down, offers the card, Ethan accepts.
I like that for a while. Ethan Page was caught up in his promo.
Yes.
And like Stokely just stood there, and Ethan Page didn't even either didn't notice or didn't care that he was there. He wanted to say something. It was good.
It was very good. We had.
So now who is Stokely giving cards to?
Lee Moriarty,
Ethan Page, someone else.
Ethan Page.
There was another person.
Oh, there was.
I forget who it was now. It was on like Rampage. The same night he gave Lee Moriarty the card and he didn't take it, he gave someone else a card too, but I forget who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was either.
Where do you think that's going?
I have no idea. I mean, obviously he's trying to start a faction.
Yeah.
Of some sort. But he's double dipping on Jade, and I don't think Jade would put up with that.
Right.
So is there going to be a face turn coming for Jade?
I think there might be, because she's already pretty over as a like people like her.
She's getting cheers. Yeah, she's getting cheers anyway. So, I could see that. But as far as like what kind of faction he's trying to start, like, I mean, not that your faction needs a gimmick. Like, I mean, look at like the old Bobby Heenan stuff. Like, they would just throw guys together so they could be on
Right.
TV. But like, if that's what they're going for, like, I like that. Just a mishmash of, you know, uh, Lee Moriarty and Ethan Page and the person we can't remember, who we apologize, whoever you
Right.
are.
I know there was someone else. I just have no idea who
Yeah,
it
there
was.
definitely is, but I can't remember who it is either. But like, Ethan Page is more of a like a bruiser, a brute, big guy. Lee Moriarty is like a technical, smaller wrestler. Like, there, it's just gonna, if you just throw a bunch of people together, I think that'll be cool. Like, the people that have no reason being together too.
Yeah, I think the only thing I think is weird about it is the same reason I thought it was weird that Ethan Page was with American Top Team. Like, he doesn't need a manager.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Maybe he needs to be in a group because he's kind of like doing nothing. So maybe being in a
Well,
group will
that's
help
true
that
too.
because the group will be. But like, he clearly doesn't need anyone to talk for him. Like, Stokely can cut promos, obviously, but he doesn't need that. Like,
Well,
Lee Moriarty needs that. Like, he needs,
well,
as far as I could tell.
I was gonna say maybe Ethan will be like a second mouthpiece.
Right.
You know. Oh man, I think it's gonna be cool, and
is Lambert just gone? Like, that's fine if he is, but is he just gone?
I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's fine. Like, Ethan Page never needed him, so if he just disappeared,
Yeah.
that's fine.
We had yet the final promo of the evening, before the dumpster match in our main event. We had the JS backstage, and all we're gonna say is 2.0 is hilarious.
Yes.
And Anna Jay is a heel.
Yeah, she's great.
Love it. She's so good as a heel.
Just like randomly choking people. It's great.
Yes. And like, she gets, like, her eyes get real wide. She gets the crazed look. Like, it's
yeah,
badass.
She's doing a really good job with this.
Well, we did have a dumpster match.
Yes.
Again, was it 1998?
Right.
And
I felt like this show was specifically geared towards someone who stopped wrestling and who stopped watching wrestling in like the year 2000. Because they had a dumpster match, they had Hardy versus Christian, they had Chris Jericho in the main event. They had
yeah. I mean, that is.
I mean, there are a lot of wrestling fans who stopped watching wrestling in the year 2000, right? So it makes sense if that's what they're doing, but it felt like that's what they were doing.
There was even a Vince McMahon reference.
Yes.
Max's rap.
That was great.
If you paid attention to the Acclaim's ring gear,
yes,
they were dressed as the New Age Outlaw.
Yes, the Billy Gunn gear was very obvious. The Road Dogg one was less, but then someone posted like a video of Road Dogg doing something. Oh, throwing a garbage can at someone's head, like the Acclaim did, and he was wearing those similar tights. It was really cool. Those are like early Road Dogg before they were like in DX, before they even wore the New Age Outlaws. I think when they used to wear like the South Park t-shirts and just be obnoxious. But yeah, which fits with the Acclaim because they're kind of like just obnoxious.
Exactly. I just wrote down and talk about 1998. They were hitting each other in the head with cookie sheets.
Yeah. I never understand the cookie sheet because why are they even there?
Exactly.
Like the rest of the stuff you can understand. You can kind of the chairs are there because they have extra chairs from setting up the ring. Like even a sledgehammer, maybe they use that in putting together the set or something, right? Yes. But like, why is there like trash can? Trash can makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like who's baking? And then it's like I'm just gonna slide that under the ring.
Right. Though I will say
that and kendo sticks. Like who's using kendo sticks?
Exactly. I will say, growing up at my buddy PJ Caruso's house, we used to hit each other in the heads with them, and it doesn't hurt. So
yeah, I mean I get why they use it because it has like it makes a loud noise. It like looks impressive, but it doesn't really do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we would do. Like we were in high school, like it would just be like me, PJ, and our girlfriends.
So you're the reason you're the reason they started putting those "Don't try this at home" things on WWE shows.
We also used to do wrestling moves to each other into PJ's pool.
Of course.
Like,
I mean, this is the best way to do it because you don't have to bump.
Exactly. And if you mess up, you fall in the water.
Yeah. The worst case, you drown.
Or go paralyzed.
Yeah,
Like,
there you go.
I mean, main event time. Wheeler Yuta, Chris Jericho. Jericho's title shot on the line. I was definitely wrong. I thought he was going to lose. Regal on commentary.
Always great.
Always great.
He's also started developing like a little crush on Excalibur. If
I
you've
think he
noticed.
has. As I think it was during Dynamite, like their knowledge, I even put it in the notes. Like I don't even know who the hell they were talking about, but it was some like English guy
Yeah.
from like the 60s.
Yeah,
Just
like
went on a
Regal
tangent.
will mention him, and Excalibur's like, "Oh yeah, I know who that is." And then they go out, then they talk about it for a couple minutes.
Yeah, like
I like
it's
how this started too, because when Regal first showed up, like he knows JR, he knows Tony Schiavone, he knows Mr. Tasmaniac, but like
yes,
he doesn't know who the Man in the Mask was. Like he'd never seen him
right.
before. So he just started off as like Man in the Mask, whoever you are. And then now he's slowly getting impressed, being like, oh,
Yes,
he knows what he's talking about. Okay, I like him.
yes, and he will forever be Man in the Mask. It's
Yes.
so good. Um, I'm really liking that Claudio is kind of like Wheeler Yuta's like little older brother.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like the kind of like Mox and Danielson, just like it seems like they're all kind of his brothers. Like they're the brothers who enjoy beating him up and like picking on him.
Yeah, yeah,
And then Claudio is the one who's probably like closer to him. So he like
yeah,
he protects him a little bit. Like
yeah. Claudia's like he's younger than the other two, but old enough to
yes.
know what it's like to be the little one.
Right. So
So
he defends him, whereas like
yes,
Mox just like likes beating him up.
um,
I never thought of
I
that. He's kind of like their little brother.
yeah, um, it's it's a very cool dynamic, and obviously Regal's the dad.
Right. Works
Um,
perfectly.
yeah,
Their mom's not
um,
there. That's why they're also angry and fighting all the time because the mom
very
left.
true.
There
Mom
you go.
left.
We've now written
Yes.
a family storyline for these guys.
um. Oh, where were we?
Wheeler Yuta, very
This
good.
Wheeler Yuta. Yes, this was probably the best pro wrestling match of 2022 as far as like pro wrestling
Like
goes.
actual wrestling. Yes.
Yes, and like Jericho is so talented that he fools you into thinking that it's a WWE match.
Right.
But he like they basically had a pure rules match without the rope break thing. Like it was an
Right.
actual wrestling match. And Jericho is just so good at it. It comes off as a like TV sports entertainment match. It
Right.
and not just because he's in a sports entertainment uh, gimmick right now. Like he's just that good.
Yeah, he's always been, and especially now. I mean, always probably. He's always been really good at being like he's got the technical aspects. He can wrestle technically, but he has a personality, and he's a sports entertainer, but he's also a
Yeah,
wrestler. Like he does both things really well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could even say he's like Owen Hart. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
that's a good comparison.
yeah,
Which I know he really idolized Owen Hart, so that
yeah.
makes sense.
And I mean, Owen had it. I mean, well, I'm just going off on a small tangent here. Brett had everything as far as technique and everything in the ring.
Right.
If Brett would have had Owen's personality,
Oh yeah.
Bret Hart would have as great as Brett is, and is he's going to go down in history and like live forever, and people are going to talk about him. He would be 10 times that had he had Owen's personality
Right.
in the ring. Like,
Right.
I mean, you never really knew if the Hitman was excited, if he was mad, if he was happy. He was just
Yeah,
kind of
and
sort of monotone.
and he made it work. He fit it into his gimmick, but
Yes.
he could have done more with if he had, like a Chris Jericho or Owen Hart like type of personality. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, I I mean, this just shows you the kind of human being that Jericho is. Jericho hits Yuta with the code breaker, his finisher, and lets the kid kick out. I
Yeah.
thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know that meant a lot to Yuta. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, not only are you in a main event with Chris Jericho, but he tells you, "Hey, I'm gonna hit my finisher. You're kicking."
Yeah.
That was cool. Um, and then Jericho wins with the Lion Tamer.
I love the Lion Tamer. I was
Oh, the
so
Lion
upset.
Tamer's
I
so
was so
cool.
upset when he went to WWF and stopped doing it
I
because
know.
it's such a good move. It
It's a
looks.
great move.
I mean,
It's
it's
way
clearly.
cooler.
I mean, it's clearly very painful. Like that's part of the reason he probably doesn't
Right.
do it. But like, it looks so much cooler than the Walls of Jericho. And I
I
like
mean-
that there's a differentiation. I like that Regal, I think, specifically
Yes.
noticed it. I like it.
Yes.
Like it's not the Walls of Jericho. It's a different move.
Exactly. And like you said, the Lion Tamer looks like it hurts tenfold because
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's a pivot point with your other knee
right.
and small in the back. Like, but
And it makes sense because it's Jericho. Moxley asked for the Lionheart,
asked for
makes
Lionheart
sense.
Chris Jericho. So
There you go.
he's
He's got to come out next week with like
he
like
better have the gear.
like 90s gear and like
Yes.
and like a Pearl Jam ripoff entrance theme. Like he needs to have all that. And I think he will because it's Chris Jericho. He understands that stuff. So
yeah. Or I don't know, he's super heel now, so maybe he'll
maybe he won't
just ignore it.
Yeah.
Moving on to Rampage from Friday, August 5th. Started out, and this is gonna lead on to my rant when we're totally done, but
all right.
I'm just gonna preview the rant
all
here.
Right.
The interim world championship, it was for a championship match at a later date. Like,
yes,
it wasn't for the title. We had Mox versus Mance Warner, and I'm gonna break the news to you again, Rick. The internet was mad.
No.
Yeah, they were angry because they didn't know who Mance Warner was, and all I'm gonna say is you carry around a computer in your pocket.
Right.
I didn't know who he was either. And you know what I did? I just Googled the name that I read on Twitter.
Right.
They said he was going to be on the card, and I watched like 3 of his matches, and they were really good.
And another thing, like he did do a promo before, so like if you don't know who he is, there's a promo. And also he's just in one match. Like he's a guy. He's a guy. Right. If you don't know anything about him, he's a guy who's mad and wants to fight, and he fought Jon Moxley. That's
there you
it.
Go. There you go.
And I saw someone say like, other TV shows don't introduce characters that you have to Google to find out who they are, and I get that. But I mean, wrestling isn't just a TV show; it's also a fake sport, and and in sports sometimes they'll call up a guy from the minors or they'll trade for someone from a team that you don't watch, and you don't know who this person is, so you'll look them up. Oh, they drafted this guy or they signed this guy. I don't know who that is. I'm gonna spend 5 minutes and figure out who he is. Oh, and now I know. Okay, that makes sense. So like it's not just a TV show; it's also a fake sport, and that happens in sports. I think the people like this is not an insult. We mentioned this before. The people who are mad at stuff like this and mad at like people changing sides and mad at like they're just people and mad at like money and people wrestlers asking for more money or whatever. I honestly think they're people who don't watch other sports, like they just watch wrestling and then other TV. Like they're not sports fans.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like you don't have to watch sports. There's no one saying you should. Go ahead. Don't if you don't want to. But I think a lot of the people who are mad about stuff like that don't equate wrestling with it's supposed to be a fake sport.
Yes.
So this stuff happens in real sports all the time. People get showed up out of nowhere. People get injured and replaced. People get, contract negotiations. Like that stuff happens in sports all the time. And unless you have some sort of knowledge of sports, I can see if you're comparing it to, Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones or another TV show. That stuff doesn't happen on those shows. But this is a TV show about a fake sport.
Right. I mean, yeah, you're totally right.
And you're right. I didn't know who he was either. It's not like I was like, oh, Mance Warner super fan. Like I don't know who he is, and it really didn't matter. Like really didn't. Like he's a guy. Like they did like a little promo. He's a guy who wants to fight, and they fought. That's it. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's not like he's now AEW champion. You don't know who he is. Like he's just like he had a match.
Yeah, and if you listened to Excalibur on commentary, he explained to everybody why he got the match because
Right.
he won a battle royal. It was a battle royal, right?
I think so.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
the Ric Flair pay-per-view,
Right.
which again, I didn't watch that, but I knew that there was a match like that on the card.
Right.
I, all you had to do is pay a little bit of attention.
And I think it's not just that. I mean, that's another sports thing, right? Like you may not watch a team in halfway across the country. You might not watch a West Conference team or something, right?
Right.
But so you might not know who these people are, and you have to look them up. But also, I think it's a product of, for the longest time, WWE being the only thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't acknowledge other things, right? So
Well, yes.
when someone came in there, they were not, former Ring of Honor whoever, they were not former Impact whoever, they were a brand new guy who has a new name and a new history, and we're going to explain that to you because he's not, Tyler Black from Ring of Honor. He's Seth
Right.
Rollins. He's a completely
Yes.
different person in their eyes, right? So again, not blaming anyone, but that's the wrestling that they know, that people
Mhm.
know. That, like, I
Yeah.
mean, WCW folded 20 years ago. So like for 20 years, it's been WWE only, and how they tell stories and how they present people. So
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
people aren't used to, oh yeah, we're just going to acknowledge that he won at this pay-per-view that you may not have seen. And
Right.
that's why he's here, which that doesn't
Yeah.
happen in WWE. Like they would never do
True.
that.
And you'll find out more about that on my rant
Yeah, there you go.
because that's basically what it's about. But we'll get there.
All right.
Mance Warner is very good.
Sorry for going off on that big tangent there.
You're totally fine because it was all made perfect sense.
Here we
And
go.
like I said, you carry a computer around in your pocket.
Yeah.
You, I mean, you can freaking Google your neighbor and find out something about
In the
them. Like,
time, if the
so,
time you spent complaining about it on Twitter, you could have found out
right.
who he was.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
if you don't care, that's fine. Like if you don't want to look him up,
Well, so yeah.
don't look him
Just
up.
then
But then
but
don't
then
complain
don't
about it.
complain.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he's very good.
Yes,
And
and
I really hope they sign him.
this really felt like they were like actually fighting each other.
It did. That could have been, well, a hard hitting match was my next bullet point. This could have been one of those ones, hey, let's go out there and we'll apologize later.
Like I know it's his character, but I really think Moxley just hates everybody. And like he just wants to fight them. Like I know that's his character, like, but he's doing a good job of it. Like it really feels like that. Like he's like upset that someone else is here and wants to fight him. Like
I can't disagree with that. And it just really makes you think, like, imagine, like, you're seeing his personality now. We've been seeing his real personality for, over 3 years in
yeah,
AEW. Imagine what he felt like for those, 5, 6 years, whatever he was in
yeah,
WWE. Like,
yeah.
oh, that had to be the worst. But then again, it's like you look at your bank account every day.
Right. Yeah.
And
And I mean, I don't want to go on another tangent, but like if
right.
you're a wrestling fan of, our age or younger, being in WWE was like the thing that you wanted to do.
Yes.
Like you want to go to WrestleMania. So like
Yes.
maybe you aren't 100% happy with your character at the time, but like you're still at WrestleMania and that's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. When Mox got suplexed onto the chair, I physically winced. Like I'd still be in the hospital. I mean,
I don't understand. Like sometimes Renee will like tweet while she's watching stuff. Like how does she even watch it and not just constantly be upset?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
like if that was like someone you knew and like loved, and they're doing this all the time, like yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we always say, and not that it makes it any different for Renee, but like if that was a pay-per-view, she could at least kind of like justify that. Okay,
Right.
this is that special moment. This is his rock star moment. This is what he just built up to. But this is on normal ass TV
against just some guy, right? Like
some guy. Right?
he could have done half as much and it would have been fine.
Right. Right. And with that being said, Mox chokes out Mance Warner in a great match and a great showing for Mance Warner. So
Yes.
Dude was probably very nervous, but he did a heck of a job.
Yes.
Heck of a job. Lexi Nair backstage with Ricky Starks, and pretty much the surprise of the night. I totally did not expect the factory to show up
No.
and offer protection, but I understand kind of why they did it, and I'll get to that in a second.
All right.
Ricky turns it down. Obviously, says he could take care of his own business, but I bet you they're doing that with the factory so people get used to them because they're going to be in the trios tournament, obviously.
Yeah, that makes sense because they haven't been around on TV. They've been on like Dark and Elevation, but they haven't been on TV.
If you watch Dark and Elevation, you see the factory every week. You know who they are. You know their personalities. But if you just watch Dynamite Rampage, you have no idea who any of those people are, minus QT.
Right.
And I really hope that the team is Aaron Solo, Anthony Ogogo, and Nick Comoroto. I hope QT stays out of it.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Ogogo is so good now.
Yeah. Since when does Comoroto wear like the hat and the
Wednesday?
Because I've never seen that before.
Yeah, no, I even did the double take. Like, what the heck is he wearing? Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
First time or Friday, I guess that was
all right.
Page.
Yeah, because I was confused by that. Yeah, like a lollipop, I think.
Yeah, I cannot wait till tomorrow night during Dark, because I really hope Taz makes fun of him for it. Like, if you ever just want to laugh, watch Dark and just listen to Taz and Excalibur.
Yeah,
it's the best. I literally sometimes just turn the sound on at night before I go to bed. And
I also really like Paul White and Mark Henry.
Paul White has not been on for a while, and
he hasn't. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, he's maybe going on a month. He hasn't been on, so I don't know if he had to get something done, like if he had some surgery or something, or maybe he got moved to like. He always wanted to coach, and
right. Yeah, they did switch their announce teams around a bit, so that would make sense.
They did, yeah. So I was gonna say maybe he's working with QT now. I don't know.
Right.
Well, what a match we had here. Konosuke Takeshita, the People's Champion, versus Ryan Nemeth, who, thank you so much, Ryan Nemeth, for doing your job and putting this man over.
Yes.
Total squash match, but let's take a minute and let's thank Cinnabon for tweeting at Takeshita and wishing him good luck.
I love the Cinnabon Takeshita relationship. It's great.
His finisher is called the Cinnabon,
which I think is great. That's wonderful.
So good. It is so.
I didn't realize that until Battle of the Belts, but it's great.
Yes. Imagine this poor kid's got to go back to Japan here in a couple weeks, and he has this new Cinnabon gimmick. Yeah. They're gonna have no idea.
He gets back there, they're like, why is his move named Cinnabon? What?
Yeah, the
cinnamon. What does it have to do with cinnamon? Why is he wrestling with cinnamon? What's happening?
Does he have a chef gimmick now? Like,
what happened? He left a few months ago. He didn't have anything to do with cinnamon. What's happening?
Yeah, that's why we hate American wrestling. Look what they did to him. But that match was totally put there because they taped Battle of the Belts first, which made no sense to me.
Right.
They should have taped it after, but they taped it first and then gave us a live Rampage. I would have rather had a
like an hour-old Rampage. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And given it, yeah. Anyways, total squash match, but that was so Takeshita could earn his title shot for Battle of the Belts, which
right. Yeah, he needed a win.
But he didn't need to win that match. My God, his match with Claudio is off the charts. We're gonna get there. Lexi Nair backstage with best friends. They announced they're entering the trios tournament. And after the banter we've had tonight about the trios tournament. We're probably just off the top of our heads, probably like 8 or 9 teams already.
Yeah,
There's a lot
there's
of
a lot.
teams.
There's a
Yeah.
lot. And I really hope, Danhausen showed up at the end of this. I really hope, I know he has a relationship with best friends. He's on TV with them a lot, but I really hope that he just goes around trying to join other trios teams.
Yes.
Like, just like whenever there's a team talking about trios, Danhausen, and what about Danhausen? And they're just like, what? Why are you here?
Yeah. I love it. Like, that dude created the greatest thing and is like, he doesn't even have to wrestle. He's probably so happy.
It's yeah, I know. Like, and it's so dumb, but it's hilarious.
Yes. Well, his famous line is he wanted to create something like he thinks The Simpsons and Conan O'Brien are the two greatest things in the world.
Right.
Well, if you were a 90s kid, you also thought The Simpsons and Conan O'Brien were the greatest things in the world.
Right.
And you get every reference he makes. You just understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, and I think it was Conan O'Brien, not related to Danhausen, just related to his own show, who said that he always wanted to make really smart, stupid things.
Right.
And I feel like that's Danhausen. Like, it's a smart gimmick, but it's really dumb.
Smart gimmick. Yeah.
But it's really dumb and it's funny.
It's yeah. And I mean, look, he just goes to these conventions and people pay like, I don't know, $50, $100 for him to write his name on.
Yeah, I love at Comic-Con. It was like Sasha Banks, CM Punk, and Danhausen. Yeah. Like, Sasha Banks is like multiple time champion, CM Punk is a multiple time champion, and then Danhausen. Yeah. And they were all there, like, equal.
Yeah. He's the best. And we had Madison Rayne, who, again, I have no idea who she was, but I just Googled her.
Yeah.
And it was a very good wrestling match. Layla Gray is very good. They gave Madison this match because pretty much no one knew who she was, I'd imagine. Or, I mean, maybe heard her name, but never saw her wrestle
like before. I knew she was in TNA. I hadn't seen much of her matches, but I knew she was in TNA and Impact. They also mentioned she's 36 years old, which I was very surprised by because she's been around forever.
Yeah, so you said she's been around forever. That's really cool. Well, apparently she's going to be part of like the women's training staff too.
Yeah.
So like, is it signed as a coach and a talent? So that's a great signing.
Yeah, and I think she's going to be more of a. I mean, I think like Serena Deeb or some other people are going to be more of like the technical wrestling coaches. I could see her being like a TV experience. She's been on TNA for a long time. Like she understands TV wrestling, so she'll be more of like this is how you get your character over. This is how you display emotion. Like I think that'll be her job, and I think it's great.
And I mean that staff. I mean, you have Ruby Soho too. I mean, she'll take you. We could rag on WWE all you want, but they're a legit machine.
Right.
Taught her, and she was very over on television there. So
yeah, no, I really like they did a lot of she's a hiring, but the rest of them were promotions this week. AEW did
right.
And,
yes,
and they needed to because it can't just be Tony. Like I mean, Tony Khan's not going to run this whole company plus possibly ROH. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, 100% ridiculous. Apparently, Jade Cargill has a problem with Madison Rayne after her match, and she challenged her for this coming Wednesday. Do you think it's the end of Jade? Because something happened on Battle of the Belts that I don't know if you caught. So,
I think it's a little odd that I think they're waiting for Red Velvet to come back because from what I've seen of AEW was when someone gets injured or someone's not around, they don't drop their storyline. They kind of just put it off for a while.
True.
It's a little weird that Jade is like suddenly fighting Madison Rayne when like what happened to Chris Statlander and Athena. It's a little odd.
True.
But I think that it's probably because there's something that Red Velvet's supposed to do. Like, how they put off like the Lucha Bros House of Black and Julia Hart's turn. Like Julia Hart didn't turn for like a super long time because they were waiting for like Rey Fenix to come back.
True.
So I feel like maybe this is just to give Jade something to do until Red Velvet comes back and they do whatever they had planned to do. I don't know.
That makes a lot of sense. Because then it could be like Athena and Chris Statlander versus Jade and Red Velvet. Because I mean, there's nothing wrong with Kiera Hogan, but Red Velvet is better than Kiera Hogan.
Right.
And we all know that Layla Gray is only interim, so
Right.
so she doesn't even exist to Jade.
Right. I really hope that they do Red Velvet versus Layla Gray in a match, and like the winner becomes a baddie and the loser like disappears. Like they would with an interim title. And if Layla Gray loses, it never happened. Like that. She was like
just Layla Gray next week.
Yeah, she was like never a baddie. Like that didn't count. That would just interim.
Lucha Brothers versus Andrade and Rush for announced for Wednesday. Already Dynamite's off the hook. And it's a Lucha Rules match. So all those times we made fun of Excalibur for explaining us Lucha Rules.
There you
go. Long-term storytelling, Tony Khan. We all know them already.
Yes. So you can't take people's masks off. We know that.
Yeah, we know that. It's automatic disqualification.
And I think it's everybody. I think there's no tags. I think everybody's in the ring kind of at the same time. Or no, it's not everyone's in the ring at the same time. You could like just leave the ring.
Tag.
Yeah, you could just leave the ring and the other guy can come in, right? You don't have to tag them.
Yeah. So that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I didn't think of how they kept explaining the Lucha Rules, and now it's relevant. That's why Excalibur's there.
Yeah, and we all know them, and it was just planted in our heads.
Right.
We literally made fun of him for it like a month ago.
And there's going to be a spot where they try to take off one of their masks, and it's like, 100%. Oh wait, no, I can't because I'll get disqualified. It's Lucha Rules. Right. Yeah.
It was main event time. It was the Friday night street fight. Josh Woods and Tony Nese versus Swerve in Our Glory. Never realized how large of a man Josh Woods was.
Yeah.
He's enormous.
Yeah.
For it being a street fight, I loved how slow it was. And it was almost like a wrestling match with no rules.
Right. I like that they used a toolbox at one point. See, that's something that makes sense to be under the ring.
100% a toolbox will be under the ring. Yes.
So that makes perfect sense.
Yes. And with it exploding, that was a little.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like you can't gimmick it that much. Like,
right.
Toolbox is meant to fall off of stuff.
Right.
Like, it doesn't explode.
Right.
Anyways, it bothers me that Josh Woods doesn't wear knee pads. It literally freaks me out. Like, I don't. It just like I would think that you'd get your knees all burned up.
Yeah, it is always weird when people don't.
It's so odd. But I mean, he's still badass and great wrestler. When Keith Lee picked up Tony Nese and just threw him at Josh Woods, I thought that was the funniest and most impressive thing I'd seen on television in a long time.
Yeah, and it's like, I know it's fake. Like Tony Nese is Tony Nese is helping, but I mean he's still throwing a person.
Exactly.
Like he's still.
And it was far.
Yes, he's letting himself be thrown. He's probably jumping, but like he is also getting thrown. Like
right, yeah. Like
Keith Lee is still picking up a person and throwing them.
And it's not like Josh Woods is right next to him. Like he was literally like feet away.
Right.
And he threw him into him. Yes. Josh Woods, German suplex off the apron, through the tables on Keith Lee with the assist from Tony Nese.
Yes.
That was insanity.
I love that right before it. I think Jim Ross was just like, he's going to land right on your head if you do that. And then he did.
Yes.
like Keith Lee just landed right on top of Josh Woods.
Yeah. There was a lot of trust there, and Josh Woods definitely took the brunt of that.
He took a lot of that. Yeah.
Swerve in Our Glory gets the win.
Yes.
And that capped off the live Rampage.
It was a little odd that they did this because, I mean, who are Josh Woods and Tony Nese? Like, why are they suddenly in a main event street fight match?
Yes.
But this seems like another, we need to give them something to do because something else is coming up and we don't want to do it yet. So let's give them like this little mini feud with Mark Sterling and like it's fine. Like I didn't dislike it. The match was good, but it seems like a little bit like why isn't FTR going for the AEW tag titles? Like I know why. Like I know why they're not, because the tag title scene got messed up because of the Hardys and everything. I know why they're actually not, but I mean, why aren't they?
Right, because you're using like real life logic, not the suspension of disbelief that we all throw out the window.
Right.
Or not throw out the window. We actually buy into the suspension of disbelief. We know that it's not, but we're trying to use real logic in wrestling.
Dangerous.
It's like it's like trying to prove that Star Wars is real.
Right. But yeah, good match. It was fun.
Yeah. And then each one of these matches in Battle of the Belts was we had the first match. I'm just going to break these down real quick. The first match was the match of the week. Second match was women's match of the year. Third match, Ring of Honor World title, was the men's match of the year. That's my 2 cents.
This was obviously the best of the Battle of the Belts they've had so far.
Yes, this was by far the best Battle of the Belts ever.
And it kind of shot down was both initial ones, in Battle Belts 1 and 2, kind of felt like they just put on, let's put in the FTW title, or like let's make an interim TNT title because we want to have a championship match on this, so let's do that. But this felt like there was at least some build to all these matches, and there was good matches. Like this was the best one by far.
Yes,
and it really redeemed the Battle of the Belts, which kind of seemed like it was like it wasn't a marquee thing. It was just it was an extra AEW show, so I'll watch it. But it wasn't like they initially pitched it as kind of like a mini pay-per-view like that. But this one was
and this is what that was, and this felt special too.
Yes.
Like it had a different feeling. That's why I wish it would have been live. Like I would have rather had the taped Rampage.
Right.
And if to watch these 3 matches in a row live would have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
The TNT Championship match kicked off the night. Jay Lethal versus Wardlow. Very physical match. Did not expect. I don't want to take anything away from Wardlow. I don't want to sound like I'm selling him short, but it was a very un-Wardlow-like match, which I was surprised for. It was back and forth. It was a 50-50 match. I thought it was done really well. It didn't hurt anybody, and it made both the guys look strong. And I'll say it again. This is the match where it sealed the deal for me. Satnam Singh understands pro wrestling.
Yes.
From what he did on the outside during the match to what he did after the match, dude, he gets it. I'm gonna put over Wardlow's headbutt.
Oh yeah, that looked bad.
Looked gnarly. Like I was totally surprised they had to be like millimeters away from each other.
Yeah.
Like I thought someone was gonna have a busted open eye.
Right.
Wardlow wins clean. He gets jumped after the pin. Sanjay Dutt, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal just continue to attack him. Again, the announce team, they put it over so well.
Yeah.
Send some help down. And I'm like, okay, well, someone's music's going to hit.
Yeah, I thought like Best Friends were going to come, or Orange Cassidy maybe, because but no, nothing.
No. We had the tease of there's gonna be a Wardlow powerbomb.
Oh, eventually. Yeah. That's what this is building to.
Yes. But I mean, they beat him up for like a solid minutes. And chokeslams Wardlow through the table. We just went to commercial after that.
What a chokeslam too! That was a really good chokeslam.
What a choke! That's where we were just. Satnam Singh looked so good. The way that first off, you can see how enormous he is, and Wardlow's big. when
Right.
his foot was on Wardlow's chest and the heel and toe of his shoe were off of Wardlow's chest because
Yeah.
his foot is that big. Like
Yeah.
that just didn't even make sense to me. Like, wow, this dude is special.
Yeah.
Um, Now, totally different match than the first match, the
He's
women's
only 20.
match.
He's only 26. That I'm saying.
Yes, he's 26, and he played a few seasons in the NBA. Like I think
Yeah.
he got drafted at 18. Like
Yeah.
um, him and Takeshita, same age,
Yep.
except Takeshita has like 11 years wrestling
Right.
experience. It's like the weirdest situation. Um, Thunder Rosa, Jamie Hayter. Uh, this was the match that Jamie Hayter just she's on another level right now. She
Yeah.
looked good.
Really good.
And this is what I put in the notes. I was alluding to maybe Jade might not have the belt much longer because Taz mentioned Jade in the title hunt for the women's title,
Right.
which is nothing. It's something we haven't heard yet.
Right.
So I thought that was quite interesting, and nobody followed up on it.
Right.
So it was obviously a little seed planted, but that's my little theory of if Jade loses the belt, that's why, because she's
Right.
going to be women's champion
That
here
makes sense.
soon.
That makes sense.
Um, this match totally validated Thunder Rosa and her um, championship reign because she just got beat up for about 15 straight minutes.
Yeah.
Like Jamie Hayter, like took it to her, and it was the old school 80s wrestling storytelling. The heel just comes down, beats up the babyface, and the babyface does like one or two things at the very end, steals a win, overcomes the odds, and Rosa by doing that, that cemented her reign,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Her reign started off a little shaky because she wasn't doing much, but
Right?
she's had really, really good matches
Yes,
as
she
champion.
has.
Like really, really good matches. And this again, like I said earlier, would like yeah, her and Britt Baker again, but why not? No,
Yeah,
no one got mad at like, oh, they're doing The Rock and Steve Austin again. No, like they're good together. Like just
yeah.
again, not saying they're The Rock and Steve Austin, but they have chemistry together where they work well together.
Well, we did get a little tease. Are we going to get Tony Storm versus Britt Baker,
That would be good
or are we
too.
just going to get a feud? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think maybe I think there's a chance that maybe Jamie Hayter wins the title and that splits up her
ooh,
and Britt because Britt's upset.
oh, that would make a lot of sense.
Because they've been working together really well. I mean, they've been pointed out like, oh, they're wearing matching gear. Like they
Oh yeah, like they put the friendship over.
yeah, they kind of had like a little while ago, like it looked like there was going to be a falling out between them. And then
Oh,
now
that's
they're kind of
right.
putting them over as like, oh, they're wearing matching gear. They're working together. Like Britt's like, Britt was her manager in this match. She was on the outside of the ring. Like they're trying, and like maybe it'll go. Jamie Hayter winning will push Britt too far. Like
Wow.
she can't stand for that. She's fine with
Right.
supporting her
Exactly.
unless she's trying to take the title. Then she can't deal with that.
Well, there you go. That's perfect. That is perfect. I'm totally down for that.
That would be good. And Jamie Hayter deserves it. She's great.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, this was my women's match of the year. This match was fantastic on both parts.
Yeah.
Jamie Hayter carried the match, but Thunder Rosa sold those moves like Rosa looked like she was beat up.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
it was.
I would say that you don't watch WWE. There was a Becky Lynch Bianca Belair match at WrestleMania that was outstanding. That was one of the
I,
best matches I've seen.
I
But
was, I was
other
gonna
than
say
that,
I haven't
yes,
seen that match, but yes, I've heard nothing but high praise for that match.
yes. But
Um,
this definitely very good.
then, which is match of the year, Konosuke Takeshita versus Claudio, Ring of Honor World Title match, main event, Battle of the Belts 3, Caprice Coleman on commentary. Regal on commentary. Wow.
Yeah, this match, I think I mentioned it to you maybe that like I had goosebumps during the end of it. I'm like, this is so good. Like it's
Yeah,
so good.
100% goosebumps.
And I know we're gonna go through it a little bit, but like I know Takeshita wasn't gonna win, but there was a
Right.
couple times where I bought it. Like
Right.
I thought he would
Right.
have. Like it was like when we talk about suspension of disbelief, like I knew he wasn't gonna win, but like in the moment you're like, he's actually gonna do it. Like you really thought he was.
Yes. Uh the technicality of this match at the beginning was unbelievable. I mean, the things that they were getting into and getting out of, like, they were dancing in the ring. They were not I mean, they were pro wrestling, but that was a dance. Like, they were so in tune with each other. It was awesome.
They had a perfect, and you see that sometimes with someone like Bryan Danielson or some other very good wrestlers. It was a perfect mix of like technical wrestling and then a story and some high
Yes.
flying and some it was a really good mix of everything.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
a really long technical wrestling match can only be appreciated on so much. Like a
Right.
lot of people really like those matches, but I can see why you wouldn't necessarily like that match. But this wasn't just a technical match. It was
Correct.
so much more. It was really good.
And this is what I alluded to a few minutes ago. The knowledge between Regal and Excalibur is, we don't deserve either of them. It's
Right.
amazing. Like, I just listen to them, and like, I don't know what they're talking about half the time, but it's so interesting to have that much knowledge for something.
And they're entertaining about it. Like they're not dull. They're not
Yes,
just like
yes.
throwing back facts or whatever, right? They're telling it where you want to hear what they have to say.
Oh, yeah. And again, I know I put the announce crew over a ton, but the announce crew during this match was, they were the third member of this match.
Yeah.
That the excitement, they were like, the chain wrestling, like we just talked about, the chain wrestling and technical wrestling was great, but the excitement that they let, like, real excitement, not fake because I'm on TV and wrestling excitement,
Right.
like, they knew that they were watching something special,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
they put it
it
over.
was an exciting match. Like
Correct. Oh, correct.
it was great. Like everything about it was like you cared about the match, you cared about the wrestlers, you cared about the moves, like you bought into it. Like it was really good.
The Takeshita hitting the flying clothesline, and then the tope suicide over the top rope. Those were, it was magical.
Yeah,
It really
he's
was.
a big guy too. Like
Yes, he
he
is.
wrestles like a lot smaller. Like he's a lot smaller than he is.
And it, his cardio has to be phenomenal. Like, he like literally sprints
Yeah.
from rope to rope.
Yeah,
Like,
he's really fast.
uh and again, pound for pound, strongest man in AEW, and he was the strongest man in WWE.
Yeah.
Claudio with the giant swing.
Yeah.
It's that, I don't care what anyone says, that's the most impressive thing, because that's just all core strength.
And again, not to
Like,
just put over the commentators, but like they explained why that move
yes.
is dangerous. Like it's
Yeah.
fun, like it looks cool and it's
Yeah.
fun, but like they also explain like no, you get disoriented, the blood rushes to your head. Like they
Yeah.
explain that, and it was really good.
It's, yeah. And again, talking about, when we were talking about Wheeler and Jericho, uh, Jericho basically probably pulling Yuta aside, said, "Hey, you're going to kick out of my finisher tonight."
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Claudio probably pulled him aside, said, "Hey, I'm giving you a giant swing. You're kicking." And, oh, did he kick? Oh, so good.
Yeah.
uh, and let's not forget to say, this match was like almost 20 minutes long.
Yeah, when they started the match, I was just like, oh, there's still like almost half an hour left on the show. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of time.
Yeah. So
And they used it.
they used it fantastic. Uh, Takeshita, picture perfect frog splash. And for, as you just alluded to, a big man jumping off the top rope and doing a frog splash,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
It- the like to like that last 10 minutes, obviously these guys are so tired. The late match chain wrestling and mat wrestling they were doing was insane because I mean you saw them sucking wind. You knew they were tired.
Yeah, they're tired, but also like look at both of them. Like I'm not saying they weren't tired, but like they're also in incredible shape.
Oh yeah.
So they
But
don't get tired. Like I'm sure, regular people
oh,
get tired.
for
Like
sure.
they're at a level. Like I got tired watching the match. Like I know, but
Yes.
like they're both, and Claudio has been for forever, but they're both like, peak physical condition. And I'm not
Oh
saying they
yeah.
weren't tired, but I'm saying like that's why they
Oh,
could continue to do this
100%.
because they are
100%.
in such good condition.
The last 10 minutes, the entire crowd was on their feet. I know people say that all the time. No, the entire crowd was standing and cheering. And
Yeah, I saw some tweets from Friday night being like, saying that like, oh, the whole crowd was cheering and it was the match of the year, and I was like, I know, but like, it's different when you're there and you're
exactly.
excited, and maybe the audience really loved it, but like, was it really that good? But no, it was.
Yes, it was. Uh Taz put Takeshita over to the point where he told Regal that he thought he was going to win the belt. Like
Right.
that that was really cool
Yeah.
to put him over like that. Uh I also love that that Claudio's finisher is called the Ricola Bomb. It's
Yes.
kind of funny. Like that's up there with the Cinnabomb, but
Yeah.
it's so. Oh, my finisher is named after a cough drop. It's hilarious. Uh Claudio wins. Uh, we witness history. Like this is a match that people will be talking about forever, maybe.
Yeah.
Like this was special. Uh,
And like Takeshita, like I know he's been in big matches in Japan,
right.
but it has to be like not startling, but like amazing to he come to America, come to a country you've never really been to, in a company you've never worked for, and probably you didn't
Become a
know
yeah,
existed, like
yeah,
really, and then have like the series of matches that he's had. Like they're putting him over hard, but
yeah.
he's getting himself over. Like you can
Yes,
put me in a match with John Moxley or Claudio, and I would do fine. But like I'm not gonna, because they're good. Not that I have any talent
yes,
whatsoever, but
yeah,
because they could carry me to like a reasonable match.
right.
But I mean, he's not getting carried. He's
No,
being put in a position to succeed, and he's succeeding. Like he's doing it.
and he is a superstar.
Yeah.
And he's only been here like we talked about it last week. He came in April or May.
Yeah.
Like he's literally good.
I read something today that he can come back. Like he's going to Japan for a bit, but he can come back. Like
Well, that's good.
he's booked for some shows in Japan, but he can come back. He's under a DDT contract, and I read somewhere that even if his year is up, like AEW has a working relationship with DDT, so they could continue to use him if he's available.
Oh, okay.
The only potential issue is if his contract runs out and they don't sign him right away. Like, based on this, like WWE will try to sign him.
Yeah, but I think he would know better because nobody there knows who he is.
Right. But I mean, if they pull a dump truck of money up to his house just to take him, just to be like, we want him. I mean, they
True,
might.
but
I mean, they could, because
they
they
totally
want to.
could.
They want to take someone. If they want to take someone from AEW, like he's someone to take.
They totally could.
And even if they don't do much with him, even if they don't even if he gets the
Oh, that
Shinsuke
would be so
Nakamura role,
sad.
where like he's on TV, but like he doesn't do much. But like, I mean, they could. So AEW has to, like, Tony Khan should have a contract written up right
Oh,
now.
that's yeah. And if he
The minute he's available to sign it, like give it to
yes,
him. Like,
yeah, have the lawyers there and present, have the lawyers talking.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like he has to. I mean, he's not just a future star. He's a star today.
Yes. Yeah.
So like you can't especially the way they put him over. You can't put him over like this and then he just disappears and he's not there anymore. Even if he just goes back to Japan and doesn't like say he doesn't come back to AEW, like that even would be a shame.
Well, but then again, maybe New Japan offers him more money than
Right.
WWE.
That's true.
And to him, that would mean more than WWE.
Right.
So, wouldn't that be something? AEW doesn't sign him, but New Japan does, and New Japan works with AEW, so then they still win.
Yeah, that's. I don't know what he's gonna do, but I mean, he's a champion. He's gonna be a champion. He has to be. You can't.
He's 100% gonna be.
You can't have someone this over, like this talented, this over with the crowd, this much of a push, and like this is where like AEW has a lot of belts, but they don't have enough belts because like he shouldn't probably beat Claudio, he shouldn't beat Wardlow, he shouldn't beat Moxley, but like he should do something.
Right.
I mean, there's the All Atlantic title. I don't think Pac should lose it, but I could see him taking that.
I was gonna say I read a tweet that someone posted, like, depending on how long he is in Japan, they better get Pac on a plane,
right,
and have Takeshita
right,
give Takeshita a match for it over in Japan. But as I said, I think these three matches were, if AEW was making a commercial to get new fans on an unopposed night of wrestling, this was the three best matches in recent history and they put on a heck of a show.
And it made Battle of the Belts seem important. It's what I expected Battle of the Belts to be. And also it's, I mean, Claudio is a former, star. Like he's a WWE, he's a guy people would know. And, but I mean, even Jay Lethal, like most people don't know who he is unless you watch AEW or watched Ring of Honor. Right. But like these were three really, really good matches. And they weren't like John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Chris Jericho. Like they weren't like they're huge household name stars. They were AEW guys who were just having really, really good matches.
Oh, so good. So good. So on that,
and it's impressive they can put on a show like that without like, Moxley or Jericho or, I mean, Britt Baker didn't wrestle, Jade didn't wrestle. Like there's so many people who weren't on this show because it was only an hour long and it was still so good.
So good. Like I was through the roof. Like I said, I wish it would have been live. I would have loved to. I never read spoilers. I stay off the internet, like, so things don't get ruined. But so it was all surprise to me, but knowing that it wasn't live kind of bums you out a little bit.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's time to rant, Rick.
All right. You can go because mine's not as much of a rant as it is just a topic. So if yours is more of a rant, you should go.
Mine is more. It's a rant / advice.
All right.
And this is just the way that we talked about it a few times. All the people that were complaining about not knowing Mance Warner, not knowing this person, and AEW doesn't cater to the casual fan, this, that, and the other. Okay. As you say, those are probably people that watch WWE.
Right. So, and not even in a negative way, just that's, and not even in a negative way. That's what they're used to.
My personal opinion, I think that everyone is so excited because WWE is going to become a pro wrestling company again.
Right.
I think that's a very poor business move when 99% of your audience has no idea what pro wrestling is.
Very good point.
You're going to turn around and feed them something else.
Right. And I mean, if you look at ratings, SmackDown doubles up Dynamite. SmackDown's their highest rated show, and it gets twice as many people as Dynamite. So, I mean, technically, they're right with what they're doing. Like, if you're going by viewers.
Right. So, and this has nothing to do. This isn't just because, I'm not going to watch, and this isn't like I want WWE to fail. Like, I don't want WWE to fail. I'm happy that it's in good hands. But I just think from a business standpoint, AEW does well because we were all either disgruntled fans or lapsed fans because WWE pushed everybody away.
Right.
The people that stayed obviously had no problem with what was going on. Why would you change it?
Right. Like they liked the shows. Yeah.
Yeah, so like who is your audience, or are you that arrogant that thinks that you just make your own audience? Like I don't know what their thought process
I
is.
mean, I guess they're trying to keep the people they have and bring in people who would like more of a pro wrestling. But like, how wouldn't that? Yeah, you're right. Wouldn't that offend the people who've watched it for the last 5 years? And
And that a
yeah,
company like that already exists. So
right,
why would you try like what stay different to give people an option? Like don't
right,
copy it.
right.
I think if they copy it, that will be their death. Not their death knell, as in like the company's going to go under, but that will be Triple H's. They'll take him out of power.
I think I actually heard a rumor. Someone was not a rumor, but like a potential prediction. Like someone thought what might just some opinion on the internet. I don't know who it was,
Mm-hmm.
but the general thinking was, is that what Triple H is going to be upset about? Like, if he does want? I don't believe that he necessarily wants a very pro wrestling feel, because he may respect pro wrestling, but he's been a McMahon forever now,
Right,
right?
right.
So I don't know if he necessarily. I think he's more like Vince and Stephanie than people think he is. But that's besides the point. If he really does want that sort of pro wrestling type thing, I mean, he's not the CEO. He's not Vince. He doesn't have the final say in all this
True,
stuff.
true.
Will Nick Khan be like, wait, but no, like the way we do this is fine. Like, look at how much money we make every year.
That's
Don't change it too much, because we make a lot of money doing what we're doing. So like, yeah,
that's
I don't
true.
know.
I never thought of that. That is
Because
true.
Triple
Like
H
he
is
might
not the
not be
final.
allowed.
He's not the
Right,
he doesn't have the pull that Vince McMahon had.
right. That's true. I never even thought of that. So that's. I mean, mine was easy this week. That was just a simple one. So, what's
It
your
is a good
tough
point.
one?
I didn't even think of that. Like
Yeah,
they have their current audience who clearly likes the show, because why would they be
right.
watching it? If they hated everything they were watching, they wouldn't be watching.
Yeah, and the other show exists for people like us. Well, the audience is already there. Like nobody is gonna stop watching AEW to watch WWE do the same thing with the people that they don't know.
Right. Yeah.
It's like they should totally differentiate themselves. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know, but that's my rant.
I did say a couple days ago that everyone's excited, and not saying they're wrong to be excited. Everyone's excited at Karrion Kross coming back, or Io Sky, like
Yeah,
some former NXT people coming back to WWE. Good.
yeah,
I mean, their roster is very small. Like, it makes sense that they have these people are
right.
talented. Bring them back. Go for it. But I find it odd that there was so many WWE fans who were like, "Oh, AEW can't keep hiring all these ex NXT guys
Yeah,
because and putting them on TV. That's not a successful strategy." Oh, WWE did it. Well, that's great. I love that strategy. Right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's odd.
And they're the
And I know we're on Twitter a lot, so maybe the opinions of Twitter aren't the opinions of the actual raw audience, but
maybe, but yeah, but I agree with you. They seem to enjoy it, and I just rebutted uh, to a couple people by saying, and they also just signed like the leftovers, like like those were the people Tony Khan didn't want.
right.
He got the Keithleys, the Swerves, the Adam Coles, the Danielsons, like
I mean, it is from a WWE. I don't want to talk that much about WWE, but it
right,
is disappointing from a WWE perspective. I mean, if you're Triple H or whoever is running
yeah,
it now, to
yeah,
be like, I wouldn't have fired all those guys. Wait a second, like,
yeah. Oh, like I think you brought it up. Well, maybe it was during the Vince McMahon episode. Like, imagine had this happened 1 year ago,
right.
AEW might be in a lot of trouble right now.
It would be very different. I mean, they wouldn't have a lot of the guys that they have, like, rightly or
Right.
wrongly, like they were gone primarily because of Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like yes, of course they'd still have Punk. They'd have
They might still have Danielson because maybe he just wanted to do something different. Like,
yeah.
he left,
y-
right? His contract, he didn't get fired. He chose to
Right.
leave. But yeah,
But yeah, like it could be like again, not saying that AEW would be like in dire straits, but AEW would even be different
it
today.
would be very different. Yeah.
So
So WWE
uh
does need to kind of, yeah, just being, I mean, I guess being AEW, it worked for them with ECW in the 90s. I mean, they were essentially ECW with a higher budget for a while there.
Right.
Like the Attitude Era, they were just like, we have more money, so we're going to do kind of what ECW did, but it's going to look cooler because we have more money.
Right.
So maybe they'll try to be AEW with more money, but I don't know.
Like corporate AEW.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. It's odd.
Well, on to yours. What
Okay,
do you
mine's
have?
less of a rant than it is a comment, but it's kind of a rant.
Okay.
Jon Moxley's interim title reign is too good.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like I like it. I don't want it to be bad, but and this is no one's fault. That's why it's not a rant, because I'm not upset with anyone.
Right.
When CM Punk was injured and they named an interim champion, the general assumption was that interim championship wouldn't last long. CM Punk would be back, and then he'd beat
Right.
whoever the interim champion was, and he'd become champion again, or remain champion. But the longer Punk is out, and the more Mox is doing a great job. The
Yes.
more Mox continues to do a great job, and the longer Punk is out, like if say it's not All Out, like say Punk's not ready for All Out, and it's Full Gear when they do the Mox Punk match. I mean, that'll be months and months of Jon Moxley having a really good title reign. That if CM Punk wins just didn't exist. Like, it's weird.
That is a good point.
It's really weird to think that, like, oh yeah, he could just lose and this title reign never happened. It's a little strange, and I understand why they have no choice. Like they had a choice to strip CM Punk, but like they didn't expect. I think they didn't expect him to be gone for more than a couple months. So
yeah, that's true.
And like, how does Mox feel? Like, it's kind of a thankless job. It's like the guy we really want to be champion isn't here, so you're going to be champion, which in most situations would be fine if you were the real champion.
Correct.
But he's not. So like, if he loses, it's just, oh yeah, that didn't happen. And
that is.
I mean, he's not going to get bumped down the card. He's Jon Moxley. He's not going to disappear. Right. He's he's going to be a main event guy. But it's weird to think that, like, if this ends in 6 months, it never happened. And CM Punk will be like the longest reigning AEW champion, and Jon Moxley never existed. Like, it's weird.
Well, what I just totally thought of this right now. What if he is ready for All Out?
Yeah.
Okay. And to not make this like wasted, Punk heel turn, like maybe just hits Moxley with the title. Heel turn in his hometown. Mox doesn't lose anything. And then, Mox can play it up like, oh, you couldn't even beat me. And then
right.
Punk, what are you talking about? 1, 2, 3, buddy.
I do think a Punk heel turn was planned because of the way things went with Hangman. I feel like they would feel like they were inching towards Punk isn't like us. Punk's not. He doesn't love AEW like we do. He's just here for himself.
True. Right.
I could see that that's where it was going. So yeah, maybe they do that.
That would, because that wouldn't hurt Moxley for doing what he's been doing now. Like, I never even looked at it that way.
And it's a little strange. Again, I know why they're doing it, because they don't know when Punk will be back. But Mox hasn't had he has a feud with Jericho, but it's ending on Dynamite. Like, it's not going to continue past Dynamite, likely. So Mox hasn't had he's had a lot of matches, but he hasn't had a feud for the title, and All Out's in a month. So like, I guess he could face Jericho again, but I don't think he will. So who's he going to face at All Out if it's not CM Punk? Like, they haven't really built up a feud for him.
Oh, that's true. Unless,
he could do it if they gave him an opponent 2 weeks before. Like, he could make it meaningful.
Well, I was going to say maybe they just keep having him wrestle these matches, and then 2 weeks before they announce that Punk's coming back.
Right. That's entirely possible. And if it's not Punk coming back, they could throw kind of anyone in there, and it would be fine. Like, he made he makes matches that with guys like Mance Warner, who you don't know. Right. He makes that mean something, so he can do it.
Right. And then, like, who would you even maybe just literally maybe Jay Lethal?
Yeah, I guess it's possible.
Because I'm trying to think of who it would help but not hurt. Like you couldn't have Hangman lose to him again.
Right.
Uh,
And Jericho is probably going to be over
yeah,
this
and
week.
Jericho, like
Adam Cole already had a bunch of title matches, so you don't really want that again.
yeah, you don't want Cole to come in.
Malachi
Malachi would work.
would work, or Miro. But you kind of want them to win.
Up.
Yeah.
Like, or you could bump someone up, like how, like Ethan Page. Like,
Right.
It wouldn't hurt him losing to John Moxley for
Right.
an interim title match.
That's true.
Ethan, Darby.
I mean, I like what they're doing with the interim title because it's not the real title, so it doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel weird that like a bunch of other people are getting shots against him. Like it doesn't feel odd because it's just the interim title. Like it's not the real title. So you're kind of, even if you beat John Moxley, all you win is the chance to fight CM Punk. Like it's kind of like a number one contendership, not a title. So I like what they're doing with it. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job with the interim title. I'm just saying Moxley's doing too good of a job.
Oh,
and now this interim nothing title, like it means something, which is like,
yeah. I mean, he totally put it over. And it's not hurting the title either by being defended all the time. Like
maybe they go somewhere like they're doing with, how Regal and Moxley kind of don't refer to it as the interim title. They refer to it as the title. Like maybe Punk comes back and John Moxley's like, no, I'm the champion. You may technically be the champion, but like I've been the one who's been here this whole time.
That's true. Like I
doing this
the belt 18 times while you were rehabbing.
Like, so like you might officially be the champion, but I'm the champion. Like I'm the one who's done this. Yeah, it'll be good. Like it'll be good when he comes back, but it just seems a little odd right now. So that's why it's not really a rant. It's more of like just a confusion, just a question.
Yeah, and it's a great observation to have. It's, again, you're using real logic in the world of professional wrestling, but it does make sense. It does make sense in this,
right?
In this aspect. Wow, what a week! I mean, it really was. You know what? I just realized this was our first I mean, we had a Battle of the Belts, but it was a non-themed week. We didn't have a themed week.
But now we go right back to theme weeks. This Dynamite's gonna be crazy.
Unbelievable. Like the card, like the things that have been released so far are unreal.
Yeah.
What a show. So, do you have anything else to add, sir?
No, I think I'm good. We had a good week and looking forward to the next one.
So, as we always say, thank you for the listens. Again, more listens than the week before, so that's good. Like, subscribe, comment, rate. It helps us. Follow us on Twitter at Elite City Pod. I think I nailed everything.
There you go. Good ending. You got it.
Yeah, we're on every major podcast network. So, like I said, we have some things coming up. We have some things planned, and we're going to do some cool stuff. So keep listening. Thank you, as always. And this was the week that was AEW. Until next time, later.